Hi everybody, this is TJ with the Backpack Trader and the Spotlight Master Suite. I wanted to do a video today about an often misunderstood trade setup that's really effective and easy to understand. It doesn't get covered nearly as much as it should, and I made a promise to myself that I was going to cover this more, so I thought I would start with this brief video to explain how it works. And I think you're going to really like it. It's very versatile. So it begins with identifying when buyers or sellers become exhausted, and we use our special exhaustion dots that are found inside of the Spotlight Master Suite. These are the same exhaustion dots that one would use as well with Counterpunch Express or Counterpunch Trader. When the dots are above the market here, it means the buyers have become exhausted. When they are below the market, the sellers have become exhausted. There are different levels of exhaustion. It's really easy to see trends when you put these exhaustion dots on a chart. It's also easy to see consolidation patterns. But for our purposes, with this setup, what we first need to do is have the exhaustion dots, and then second, we need one of these three bars that line up on the dots to open on a particular line and then close in the direction of the trade. So it would open on the line and close down for shorts or up for longs. Now, if you're not used to the color of Spotlight, gray means you're flat and not in a trade, and you just have to get used to dark gray closing up and light gray closing down. And once you get used to that, just imagine dark gray is a green bar, light gray is a red bar, okay? When we get into a trade, the bar will turn color. It'll turn to red when we're short, and it will turn to green when we're long, okay? So that's the basics. One of the three bars that it's associated with any one of these three exhaustion dots has to open on the line. So what lines am I talking about? Well, originally I started with one moving average, this yellow moving average, which is the 50 EMA, exponential moving average, but I have since added two more, a 20 simple moving average, which is the red line. A lot of times I display it as a dark blue line. Red shows up easier, it's easier to see, so I'm showing it as red. And then this dark magenta burgundy line down below is a 200 exponential moving average. So there's two EMAs and one SMA. And if one of these bars on one of these three dots opens on one of these three lines, we can get a setup. And I have a tolerance where it has to open not just on the line exactly, but within 1 pip. So if it opens 1 pip to the line, that counts. And you can adjust that, but that's what we're going to use for this example. All right, so let's see if we can find a setup. We got some exhaustion dots coming up, and then lo and behold, there's a setup right here. So you might be thinking, wait a minute, those exhaustion dots are on the red line, but there's no bar opening on the red line. No, but there is a bar opening on the yellow line. So it just has to be a bar on these three dots that opens on one of these three lines. So right here you can see it opens on the line and closes down. Happens to be the first dot, could be any of the three, and then that's going to give us a setup. Now, just like Spotlight Power Trader or Counterpunch, the setup will be either on the third dot or up to 4 bars to the right. It's the first bar that closes down, and on the bottom side, the low side of our balance line, okay, because that marks the balance of power. Price action is telling us when there's a setup bar. All right, so we have the open on the line down, and then we have the first bar closing below the balance line down from the third exhaustion dot up to 4 bars to the right, depending on which one happens first. Well, this one closes down. It's the first one. So you get the setup. It appears. The little plus sign is your entry. The orange dots down below are targets. It's totally tuned. It's adjusting to market conditions. It triggers short, and it pushes through all the targets. And that's a great trade, right? Well, that's basically how the trade works. So when we're in the trade, Spotlight technology turns the bars red, and it's going to be the bright color in the direction of the trade. So the bright color closes down, the dark color closes up. This one goes straight down. It's a pretty small trade. They're not always this small. In this case, we would only be interested in targets 3 and 4, 10 pips and 13 pips, and then we could trail further. Sometimes you'll see trades quite a bit larger. Let's see if there's another setup. So you could see this one did pretty well, and the trailer kept us in for a much larger gain, and then it stops out and it's finished. Now we're going to use our special tools, our rapid fire entry tool, and other tools that we use with our FX Synergy trading interface for Forex. That is something you can find on my YouTube channel if you want to learn more about that. So make sure that you check that out. And if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, I hope you will, the Backpack Trader. You can join us in our live trade room as well, which happens 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, on most weeks, starting at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And we have a bonus session as well. Each week, you can come in and trade the crude oil inventory report with us as well. All right, so let's continue. See if there's another setup. Now, these setups don't happen very often, but they're a high-quality setup, so it's one of those things where it's quality versus quantity. But look at that. We have another setup right here. Now, sometimes these will happen during times of the day when you may not be interested in trading, so we're not really talking about trade plan considerations at the moment, but you can learn the setup and use the setup and then apply it to a specific trade plan where you're only trading and looking for setups during a window of time, because we don't want to be tied to our computers all the time, right? We want to live the life of the backpack trader, which represents freedom, trading less, making more as a result. So these are high quality trades, setups, and we could apply these to various charts. We're looking at a pound US chart, a 6 pip momentum bar, but you could apply this to other types of charts as well, time-based charts, futures, commodities, equities, same principle. All right, so let's examine this setup. You've got your exhaustion here. Clearly, you can see that the buyers are getting tired at lower levels. It's trending lower. This is the bar. Again, it's the first bar on the first dot, opening within 1 pip of the line, closing down, and then the first bar to close down on the third dot or up to 4 bars to the right is the setup bar. Happens to be on the third dot again, and that's our setup bar. If you click on the bar, you get the entire trade, you know, your entry, your targets, your stop, everything. All right, just like Spotlight, Master Suite, setups, Spotlight Power Trader, which is inside of the Master Suite, just like the Counterpunch, works the same. And this one comes down as well, and you're going to see this happens a lot. This is a high-quality setup, wins a lot. Target 1, 12 pips, target 2, 19 pips. Notice that this is a much larger trade. Always tuning itself to market conditions, and it comes up and hits its trailing stop. So that's a pretty well-tuned target 2 and a nice trade. Let's see if we can find another setup. And here's another one. So check this out. This one is interesting because the setup bar is our open on the lines bar, the bar on the third dot. It opens within 1 pip of the line, closes down, and then gives you the setup. Now, if you remember, the first one opened back here on the 50 EMA. This one is on the 20 SMA, and the second one is also on the 20 SMA. And it's obviously different. It's tuned. The size of this trade is different from the prior 2 trades. One of the things this strategy does is dynamically tunes itself to market conditions. Each and every trade is the most appropriately tuned trade to this point in time in real time as each bar is forming. So that's why this has been such a successful strategy over the years, and why the Counterpunch and Spotlight continue to do great just as well today as the first day they came out, because they are able to dance with the market. So notice this comes down, hits all 3 targets. Really nice trade once again, and then finally stops out right there. 3 trades in a row. Let's see if there's any more setups today. Don't know that there are. There's different types of setups that one can use with the Spotlight Master Suite. But as far as our open on the line setup, that was all there was. Oh, here's one now. This just happened. All right, this just happened while I started the video. So this one also, you have 2 here. This is pretty interesting. You've got this one that you have to look back to these dots, see? And remember I said it could be up to 4 bars to the right, the first one that closes up. So here you have this bar on the opening up on the red line, closing up. That's the setup, not your trade setup bar. That's like your prerequisite of the open on the line, closing up. And then the first bar that closes up above the balance line on the 3rd dot or up to 4 bars to the right. So you got the 3rd dot, 1, 2, 3 bars to the right is the first bar that closes up above the balance line, and that's your setup. So you have another setup here. The reason why is because this one happened before the other trade actually triggered in. You'll notice the price had not yet come up to touch it. And so there was a brand new setup based on the new set of exhaustion dots right here. And you'll notice that on dot number 1, the bar opened on the 200 EMA and closed up. And then that's what gave us the pink trade. And the trade setups are colored to help you figure out what line it opened on, because the pinks go with the magenta, the orange and orange setups and yellow setups go with the 50 EMA, and the red go with the SMA. Okay. All right, so that is a quick lesson in our open on the line setup inside of the Spotlight Master Suite. It's a fantastic setup. It could also be used on different moving averages. I'm showing you the default where we use the 50 EMA, the 200 EMA, and a 20 SMA, but this can also be used on other lines. It doesn't have to be these 3 lines. It could be any one of these 3, or all 3 could be changed, and we could bring in our Trade Assist, our powerful Spotlight Master Suite automation tool, to begin optimizing and finding maybe other moving averages that might perform better on a specific chart. So a 6-pip momentum bar is not going to behave the same as a 60-minute chart, for example, or a 377 tick chart, for example. So we can then use our automation tool and look for other possible moving averages that we could apply our exhaustion dots, our open on the line technique in relationship to our balance line, etc. So there's so much you can do. I've barely scratched the surface. Before I say goodbye, I will show you a variation to this chart just to kind of show you what I mean. So this is using the same pound US 6-pip momentum bar, but you'll notice the moving averages actually look different. I've also turned on the automation. The automation is not going to place trades for us. TradeStation is not a Forex broker, but we will use it to optimize and backtest and find high-level inputs that will give us great results. And then we can take these trades and just place them with any broker we want. You'll notice the last 3 trades in a row here. That's from all this morning's session. If you go back, you'll see there was this one too. This one is before the start of this particular trade time, or trade plan time. Here's another one. Lots of great trades with this particular chart configuration. Just to give you a quick look, we're looking at a 27 simple moving average, a 50 EMA, just like the other one, and a 136 EMA instead of a 200 EMA, so a faster line. And it's given some great results. And one of the beautiful things about using this tool is that you could pull up a performance report. It's all hypothetical, back testing. This is going back all the way to November of 2020. It's about as far back as you can go with a momentum bar. And you'll notice that this plan has just broken out and hit new all-time equity highs. So this has been in a testing phase, and it continues to recover from its drawdowns and break to new highs. That's always a good sign. I always like to see that when I'm testing, especially back in here where it literally had this growth and then gave it all back. But then look, I mean, there's a random distribution of wins and losses always, but what you want to see is robustness, and that through market conditions changing, it will recover and ultimately push higher. So this one's working really well. Same concept, same principle, open on the lines, but custom lines. Anyway, I thought you'd be interested in this. As usual, you can reach out to me anytime if you have any questions. Troy@backpacktrader.com. I answer all emails. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please hit the like button and post any comments you have, and I will answer. In fact, I really love it when our viewers post comments, and any questions you have about this, I would be happy to answer. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. This is TJ, Backpack Trader, and I'll see you on the next video.